I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, across the river from our twin city, Kansas City, Kansas. So when I looked at a map in some magazine and saw Kansas City, I never gave a thought to which one was being cited and which one was being excluded. But when I accepted a faculty position at the University of California, Riverside, I quickly learned that, depending upon which map, Riverside might be there east of Los Angeles, but sometimes it was nowhere to be found, giving way to San Bernardino. Or maybe they, too, were considered twin cities. And like my two Kansas cities, their individual existence was merely an illustrator's whim. 50 years and many maps later, sometimes with Riverside, sometimes with San Bernardino, often with neither, seldom with both. I occasionally wonder, who makes these decisions? Who decides whether our cities exist or become invisible?
The first poem I'm going to share is called Cul de Sac is French. I want to preface it with two things. The first is growing up in San Bernardino, I grew up in a red-lined area, which means that we were segregated off, and it was a legal practice at the time where they grouped all of the Black people together according to a red line on the map. My mother didn't like that, and we lived on a dead-end street. She refused to use the word dead-end street. She always called it a cul de sac, and cul de sac is French for bottom of the purse. So the first poem is called Cul de Sac is French. The bottom of a purse, possibly loose change, possibility of change. Turn around, come out from bottom, framed in barbed wire, the crisscross stop of steel, redlined. Uprooted, she plants a laughing bush, a pretty tease of poison of pink and white oleanders, a red-lined ultimatum. Death is a bottomless black, but she believes in balance, plants Italian cypress in between oleanders, evergreen finger pointing skyward. Taller than pink and white blooms, barbed wire fences, our eyes travel upward, recognizing hope when we see it.
I'm going to be reading a poem about my grandparents, and this poem was first published in Inlandia, a literary journey, many years ago. It's called The I-10. Born in 1897, a San Bernardino native son, my grandfather lived to be 100. Late in life, when we would take him out for a drive, he would point to some shopping mall off the I-10 and say, "We used to hunt rabbits there." When he retired from title insurance, he farmed in Cherry Valley, fruit trees and eggs. Later, in Yucaipa, he cared for my grandmother, who lingered 2 decades after a crippling stroke. With a will to live, she learned as a child in Randsburg, where her father worked for the mines. Time and again, I would head down the coast, pick up the I-10 in Santa Monica, barrel straight through LA's polluted heart to the hinterlands, find my way to the Yucaipa house by rote, gripping the wheel as I ran the gauntlet, breathing a sigh of relief at the exit. Then Riverside, a convalescent hospital on Magnolia Drive. My grandfather recalled when the stately palms were planted, Sunday drives before the First World War. He joined my grandmother at Desert Lawn, hardly a resting place. The I-10, a noisy witness to the end of their lives and the world they knew.
Slowdown on Antelope Highway by Will Clarke. Fritz Martinson was a very dear friend of mine and fellow missionary at Ikizu in Tanzania, Africa, in the late 1960s. After he retired, he was hired as a part-time pastor for a church in Mojave, California. While serving there in the 1990s, cancer caught up with him and killed him. To get to his funeral, we drove up the Cajon Pass out of San Bernardino and along the mountainous Antelope Highway through Lancaster. In the 1990s, it was a 2-lane highway that climbed steadily up into the high desert along the San Gabriel Mountains. Ahead of us was a small pickup pulling a big trailer. The trailer obviously slowed him down so that he had a long line of cars following. I was immediately behind him and chafing to get around him. I looked forward to the next passing lane, where I could surely pass him. But that was not to be. Selfishly, the driver did not pull over and let us pass him, as the highway design suggested. Instead, he just hogged the main lane. I sputtered and fumed and questioned the driver's ancestry. My dad, who had also known Fritz, was riding with me. He said nothing, just muttered his feeling under his breath. Eventually, we reached another passing lane. This time, I got around him, on the right. I heard Dad heave a sigh of relief, but I was indeed angry and plotting vengeance. After I got around him, and we were again on the 2-lane road, I slowed down gradually to about 20 miles per hour. The selfish driver came right up to my rear bumper, but then had to slow down too. Dad said softly and sympathetically, "Don't slow the driver. He might not be able to get up to speed again." I grunted, served him right. Then I went on the long mountain pass at normal speed, leaving him far behind. I felt justified in slowing him down, but my actions bothered me. By yielding to my anger, I violated the golden rule. Furthermore, I broke my own standards. Although the road hog was obviously insensitive and deserved a wake-up call, I didn't have to live with him. I do have to live with myself.
On the Edge by Christine Chatterton. Town growing up on the edge of the mountains, rugged, steep, and sometimes mossy green, but more often burnt brown. A great stony arrowhead on the cliffside pointing with sharp edges down. The edge by the rivers that come clattering out of the mountains to meander to the sea. Named for powerful men long dead, Santa Anna, Waterman, Lytle, from when water meant life, for orchards of trees filled with fruit of sunset orange and glowing yellow and vibrant green. Valleys with fanciful names on the mountain's edge. Forest Falls, Oak Glen, and running springs, beckoning people to come out of the dry valley and into the pines, to rest on the edge of a mountain lookout. City built up on the edge of the freeways and houses and crowds, sprawling malls and tall towers, mansions on hills, the edge of the massive metropolis that is that brash city, LA. The small farm towns swallowed up by the crowd, the old towns still trying to be themselves. San Bernardino, the hub of the towns, half old now, half new, half growing, half falling into disuse. Change is restless. The metropolis spreads out. Either change or develop into something brand new. The small bungalows and neighborhoods don't fit into that new metro vision, all houses and no yards. The muscular, hard labor jobs are gone. Steel workers, railroad workers, builders and growers and soldiers are gone. New jobs come slowly, but slowly they do come. Warehouses, offices, truckers, and jobs fit for the edge. People living on the edge, good people, strong people, who have weathered the change. Neighbors together 20, 30 years or more, seeking the peace that retirement should bring, but finding old things lonely or no longer there. Old churches of grand beauty now only half full. Old shops closing, too often leaving empty store rows. Too many people homeless, hopeless, helpless, hiding in alleys beside shopping cart homes. Crime creeps along the edge like a black cat on a fence. Too many young men willing to prey on others with violence and strife. Change may come too late for the homeless and those caught up in crime. Courage on the edge. There are still many brave people caring and helping where they can, looking to the future, coming up with a plan. They are still there to lift up the weak, befriend the hopeless, and meet others' needs. Even when terror came into a meeting of friends, the unfailing spirit of that city lived on, and as San Bernardino climbs up from the edge, so do all those from the metropolis who look out to the edges to live.
My name is Adam Daniel Martinez, and this poem is called Genevieve St. On early evenings, a woman and her son would walk several blocks to buy groceries. Food stamps kept him fed a few times. Street lights passing with a tangerine glow. The fire station to the right, an empty elementary on the left, trees with low-hanging leaves and shoes tangled in power lines. Housing project apartment complexes. A bar where the boy would eventually spend nights with friends, fending off feelings of inferiority with a few beers and a laugh. The boy and his mom would walk home, arms weighted with grocery bags. Outside, in a sad city, walking with his mother, the boy felt safest.